Mm. Mm. No yo quiero que lo haga. Lo siento. No hable español. Greetings. My name is Michael Miller. This is a Michael Miller Pilates. Actually, it's a Michael Miller trademark training video out to you because you're watching. Thank you and welcome. It's meant for Michael Miller Pilates licensed affiliates, the Core New Core, and anyone interested in surviving and thriving as a Pilates instructor. There's 4 things on my list today, and the first one was sign language. So we've already accomplished that. I was trying to talk about grasping or having control of something, and then contrology is complete coordination of body, mind. It's coming out of your mind, right? And spirit, the symbol for spirit in sign language universally is a lightning bolt coming into view. Observing, right? Something that you observed that didn't come from something going on in here. That discernible difference. So there's body, there's what's going on in here, and then there's what's going on out there that requires observing. All right, so, gosh, let's go on to number 2. Another point of view. And so this is across a different language with a true expression of passion and a sense of trying to present Pilates as 1/3 of what gets you to life. And the point of view stated that meditation is for the mind, and yoga is for the soul, and Pilates is for the body. And when you add those up, you get to life. Okay? And I think what I'm hearing is someone saying they love to do meditation and yoga and Pilates, and they see themselves as covering mind, soul, and body across those 3 activities. Okay? Which, as an individual preference or routine that someone likes, is understandable. But to me, I would take note that in the MMP point of view, soul is not involved. I think that's one of my things coming up. Yeah. In MMP, soul is not considered. Only spirit. And so, what do I mean by that? To me, the notion of soul, or the word soul, evokes the sense of maintaining your identity past this life into another, or not, but that you maintain, you come into life existing as exist as a human being. There's a soul in there, and when the human being dies, the soul goes on. That's, to me, intellectual philosophy rooted in religion. And my point is that Pilates MMP doesn't even consider soul. But it considers spirit a lot, and in that regard, I would want you to at least have my sense of distinction between soul and spirit. Spirit is a projection about something that happens after you die or before you were born, and that you have that doesn't matter about this reality, or that is part of this reality we don't see or comprehend or isn't obvious. So always at least come back to your own point of view and judge by that, because that's really the only point of view you have the most familiarity with, and entertain others. And so this gets better, because it was the motion I was watching on the Reformer that took me to the words, which led me to the words saying that you do meditation for the mind, and you do yoga for the soul, and you do Pilates for the body. And in my generation, when you say hold the phone, it became, you got hold the phone. Wait a minute, hold the phone, hold the phone. Because why? Because if that's a person's interest in how they see Pilates fitting into their life and what they like to do, that's all fine and dandy. But as the Pilates instructor, I know you want to be, you understand that Pilates is the complete coordination of body, mind, and spirit. And spirit within MMP is observing. And so it doesn't even address soul, because soul is something that's speculative and intellectual and belief-based, that's beyond the realm of MMP's point of view. MMP cares about spirit because spirit is seen as the capacity in the human being of observing. And so know that distinction. Soul is whatever, but like identity, coming from and going past a human being's life. But a human being is just worried about staying alive in that manifestation of its life, getting out of pain and all that. So it cares about spirit, and spirit is the observing. So if it's like, how does the soul come into being? Its capacity in spirit of observing, I think, is what makes manifest real, or at least participates in what's real. See, I don't know. But so, a difference between soul and spirit. Soul, MMP doesn't care about, has no opinion on, but spirit is observing, and that's a capacity in the human being that the Pilates instructor seeks to completely coordinate with being and thinking. And to suggest that You do meditation for mind. I mean, to say that Pilates is just about the body, and to say you're going to pull soul into Pilates, that right there is, to me, within MMP, you know, it doesn't fit. It's not part of it. And that's a relief, because soul has spiritual, religious belief infused as part of it. And within MMP, spirit is observing. It's the capacity of the human being to engage their being, thinking, and observing. Completely coordinate that. So for whatever else you see about Pilates, when you understand that you're taking their being, their body, and their thinking, their mind, and they're observing their spirit, not their soul, just the existential fact that the human being has three capacities, and that the instructor seeks to completely coordinate those three capacities. Which means they have to be there in the first place to ever get there. And so when you say, hey, look, to a student that requires their observation, they're observing, that's a start, to me, in getting the difficult capacity of observing to find its place in the performance of the conditioning. And the meditation that goes on in the mind, in the process of the doing, see, this is one methodology covers all three bases. And to limit Pilates to just addressing the body and to try to filter away or make a distinguish about soul and about meditation being thinking, as though those aren't in Pilates already and already have a purpose and a focus and a coordination that is being sought. The more you understand this pure point of view, the more you'll see a distinction between the ideal that exists within Joe's original work and how everyone else whimsically and wishfully seeks to project it. So again, it has nothing to do about you as a Pilates instructor. You're just making an introduction that is sensational, and that they can eventually find reproducible on their own without you. And that's the target. And why is that the target? Because the target is survival. Because Joseph Pilates was a survivor. His method is a survival method, and his method addresses the human being's response to the reality that it finds itself in. Namely physics. And physics has to do with rotating around axes to create tensions that interact with each other. The rotations do. And thereby, never mind, you know all of that. Number four, the Pilates quiver. Now, am I talking about bows and arrows and, you know, is this the, no, not that kind of quiver. I'm talking about a quiver in your body, your whole body, when you're completely at ease. And it's the quiver I'm talking about when you've just exhausted yourself. Now, that's not really the right way to say it, but you've spent a serious embrace with uniform engagement. in your body. You've had a good Pilates workout. And from that workout, there's this state of being in the body that has to do with uniform engagement. And it's that exhaustion. I suppose there's somebody will come in and say, well, we've studied that, and that's called this and that or whatever. And okay, I'm glad it has a name. But the point that in Pilates, man, when you find yourself in such challenge to move through pattern or be led through pattern, and you spend yourself in it, that quiver, you can feel it standing, but boy, when you're sitting, especially, and your whole body is in a quiver, and you're completely relaxed. It's not a spasm. It's like, it feels like a state of exhaustion, right? Spentness. And I don't know if it's chemical or physical, but and I don't know if it's literal. I don't know if there's a shaking going on, but it's why we go there to do this. Or actually, that may, yeah, it's an aftermath from the kind of effort you put out. In seeking uniform engagement, your body, I think, releases uniformly. Maybe that's it. I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one talking to myself on this. So, okay. So the first one was contrology is complete coordination of body, mind, and spirit. Pilates takes that to mean being, thinking, and observing. And to lay an interpretation of spirit as being soul. There's an approbation of whatever soul means into an arena that MMP doesn't consider. Okay? So know that distinction. And the great thing about MMP is it points to a sensation, something you can feel. And that's not always the case, because life can't live forever. Read between the lines, see behind the curtain, add two and two, direct your thinking. Geist